What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Process Sports Radio. We are joined by Balraj for our full court press segment. Balraj, let's go right into it. The latest, greatest news. What happened right now is the Philadelphia 76ers blew a 22-point halftime lead to choke Game 5 as the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young storm back and take a 3-2 series lead. What are your immediate thoughts?
You were actually just telling me that you're actually watching the game, which is cool. But I actually didn't really watch the game too much, but I caught towards the end, and Trae Young had an amazing night. I think he had like 38, 39 or something like that. Again, the Hawks, like we said, I just feel like they have more dogs. And can we just quickly touch up on like how a 20-point lead in the NBA is just not safe anymore? Right? It just feels like everybody's just elite at scoring now that everything gets taken away. And obviously the Sixers, they're kind of like out now with like Joel Embiid getting injured. So I don't know if the team was kind of the same, but I think the Hawks should close this out, because if they don't close it out in 6, then I think the Sixers and Joel Embiid might be back for Game 7.
Here's the thing. This game goes squarely on Ben Simmons' shoulders. Ben Simmons talked about how he needs to be more aggressive. You know how many free field goal attempts he made today?
I'll guess
4 field goal attempts he took. He took 4 field goal attempts and made 2 of them, and he was 4 for 14 from the free throw line. If you are a superstar player or an all-star player in this league, that is unacceptable in this playoffs whatsoever. Joel Embiid did his part. Joel Embiid dropped 37 and 13 in this game. He did his part. Ben Simmons choked. Ben Simmons' lack of ability to take a jump shot caused this game for the 76ers.
Yeah.
How do you take 4 shots and you're on a max deal and you miss 10 free throws? Those, if you made 6 of them, this game would have been a different story. Unacceptable by Ben Simmons. The reason the Sixers lost this game in this predicament is because Ben Simmons cannot shoot, and because of that, he's shooting his team in the foot.
That's a really hot take by Justin Pooney, but I feel like we've known this all year. Ben Simmons, and it is unacceptable for any player in this era to not have a jump shot.
Absolutely. Speaking of guys with no jump shot, Giannis Antetokounmpo last night proved once again he has no jump shot. He doesn't have the skill. As Kevin Durant dropped 49 points, having a triple-double. And here's the thing. He played all 48 minutes of the game. I know you got a lot to say about this, Balraj. Tell me what you feel.
Shout out to my guy Kevin Durant. Finally, KD showed up for the role that I've always wanted to see him in, where he's the alpha on the team with no other superstar, because that has been a complaint against Kevin Durant forever. And finally, even like a lot of people might say that James Harden was out there on the court, but you could have replicated what James Harden was doing yesterday on the court, right? But again, Kevin Durant played all the minutes that he needed to play. Steve Nash at the end, if you guys saw, give him a little hug, like, thank you. You saved us from this one, because Milwaukee should have won this game to begin with. But me knowing how Kevin Durant and the Nets were, I just felt like Kevin Durant wasn't going to lose on this night. And there was a lot of people watching him. And Kevin Durant delivered.
I tweeted out last night, whether you love him or you hate him, you have to appreciate what Kevin Durant did last night. Kevin Durant proved to the world why he is such an offensive juggernaut. You know, he was efficient. You know how efficient he was? I think he shot like 60% from the field last night, or some wild stat like that.
Yeah.
And you know what the thing is? Everybody knocks Kevin Durant for being softer in the media. He played 48 minutes. He didn't take a break at all. He played the whole game. James Harden, like you said, did not look like James Harden at all. Jeff Green had an amazing game. Jeff Green was the second best. Yeah, Uncle Jeff was the second best player for the Brooklyn Nets. They didn't have Kyrie Irving. And again, I'm going to say this. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the reigning 2-time league MVP, the reigning defensive player of the year, does not want to guard Kevin Durant. We don't need PJ. Why would PJ Tucker need to be the Kevin Durant stopper? Yes, he plays physical on. If you're Giannis, you are the defending defensive player of the year. You should want to take that assignment. It's just like this. If you're an elite cornerback, you think Jalen Ramsey will not match up against a Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, DK Metcalf, or Deion Sanders not going to match up against Jerry Rice or Michael Irvin in the clutch? Of course they are. This is another case in point how Giannis is not that dog. He does not want to be that alpha. And for sad thing for Bucks fans is, once again, Giannis comes short in the playoffs when it matters the most. And I think this series is done now because Kevin Durant put his will and his foot on the Milwaukee Bucks' throat.
Agreed. Milwaukee. if Giannis does not develop a jump shot, there is no respect at all. I quickly just touch up on one play. It's a tie game, I think, where the Nets are up by 2. Giannis gets the ball. James Harden, I think somebody's coming over to double Giannis. He's like, yo, we got this.
It's just disrespect. Like, and I was thinking, like, remember last year when they had that beef where James Harden's like, I wish I was 7 feet tall and could jump.
Yeah,
That's what was going through my head at that exact moment because
100%. Yeah.
they know Giannis can't shoot. You don't need to double me. I want to see Giannis put his head down, go to the basket. But he can't because he's scared of getting a foul because he can't hit his free throw shots. And that for a superstar player is embarrassing, quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
So I think we both agree that this series is over, right? Now let's go over to the other news in the NBA. A lot of news happened today. Chris Paul, COVID, Kawhi Leonard out with an injury. We'll touch on the Clippers in a second, but I want to get your quick take on this. LaMelo Ball, Rookie of the Year. I called it before the season. I think even though he was missed all that time, it was completely deserving. He's a superstar in this game or a developing superstar in this game. What are your quick thoughts about LaMelo?
Well deserved. I don't think it was like really that close this year. And he started off the bench too, which was kind of surprising. But again, I watched his interview with Inside the NBA, and he was just saying like all the right things. And we could probably say like the first time I saw him actually play was on the show with his brothers. I can't remember what the show was called, but
Ball in the Family, I think.
And his brother, his dad also said, LeBron, that I think LaMelo is probably the most talented and has the most potential, right? And we're seeing it now. Like obviously Lonzo's doing his thing, and then I don't know about the other one right now, but I think he's trying to get into the other leagues. But LaMelo's the best out of all of them, and he has that swagger, and I think he could actually be a star for the Charlotte Hornets.
Definitely. And Lonzo definitely had a career year this year as well. Okay, let's go to the Clippers now. Last topic. Clippers are going to be without Kawhi Leonard for game 5, which is going on right now, and potentially longer as it could be an ACL injury.
Yeah.
We both talked about this before the show. This is the time for Paul George to erase the pandemic P moniker. I don't know if he can do it, but you think he could.
Yeah, I honestly like before we got on this podcast, I was just telling Justin, I was like, yo, if you really think about it, like this is probably the biggest game of Paul George's career. I mean, going back to his when he played Miami, he also had like Roy Hibbert and everyone, but like right now is like the hardest challenge that he's facing. And for his last 3-4 years, where a lot of people like Paul George or George Paul or whatever the names we've heard, and I love Paul George. Right now, he has the opportunity to be like, I saved the Clippers, and I am as par or more than Kawhi Leonard, because Kawhi is not there. We know Kawhi by himself could lead a team to the finals and win the championship. Shout out Toronto for that. But hey, Paul George, it's your chance. And I'm really hoping he comes through for the Clippers.
I can't disagree with you anymore, man. This is Paul George we're talking about. I don't know, for whatever reason. Yes, early on in Indiana, when he was taking on those Miami teams, he was a playoff performer. He took those Pacers teams to back-to-back Eastern Conference finals against the Heatles. And for whatever reason, after he broke his leg, that horrific injury, he's never been the same in the playoffs or even the same player. Yes, he had that one great year in OKC where he was like third in MVP voting. To me, I think the Clippers go as Kawhi goes. So if Kawhi is not there, the Clippers are done. I think Utah wins this game 5. I think they win in game 6, setting up a matchup with the Suns, who could be without Chris Paul in the Western Conference Finals because he tested positive for COVID, even though he was vaccinated, man.
Happens, man.
It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever how the basketball gods could do that to Chris Paul. But it is definitely going to be interesting, and there's so much going on in the NBA right now, guys. We will be back next Wednesday for more. For Balraj and More Than Sports and me at Process Sports, I'll make sure to drop all of our stuff in the video below. Make sure you like and subscribe to us. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned and stay safe, guys.